Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Today's video is it time to step up for Antony? £80 million. It's actually £82 million Manchester United sealed the deal for him for in the summer from Ajax. Some would say it's a steal, some would say it was a big rip-off, and we're here to discuss it with Charlie and discuss whether it is time for Antony to step up to his price tag. Obviously, Charlie, he didn't write his price tag. We know that he was never worth that. We know he should have gone for 40 or 50 at the beginning of the summer, and we know that it was Manchester United's fault that we didn't get this deal done. But starting off with Antony, initial opinions on him. Do you think he's good enough overall? Because he's getting a lot of stick for a couple of bad games. Personally, for me, I think he's going to come good. But there is also things he can improve as well, and we're here to discuss that today.
Yeah, I mean, you've touched on it there. He doesn't get to write his own price tag, but that is obviously Man United's fault as a whole. As you say, we could have got him for a lot cheaper. And, I mean, therefore, however much you spend on a player, the more naturally you're going to be expected, because rival fans will go, oh, you paid 80 million for this and that. It's just what happens in the nature of football. I have seen good things from him. I have seen good glimpses, good performances, and he seems like a resilient player in terms of, you know, this whole, when he did the spin thing and everyone got onto him for that, he said, you know, I'm not going to change who I am. It's what I've been doing my whole career, is expressing myself, etc. So I'm sure that, you know, I mean, not every player just comes straight in and fires in. You know, he's scored goals for us, and I'm sure he'll score many more. Exactly.
He's adapting from the Dutch league to the Premier League, which is a big difference in quality of leagues as well. And again, it's this Manchester United team that are just building together and working together. It's not a fully established Man United team that he's just slotting into. He's kind of there and he's expected to step up straight away, as he should be doing, to be fair, for the level that he is. But again, he's only 22 years old. He's got a massive future ahead of him. And I do think with Antony that we're going to see so much more from him. But let's get into the stats before we get into maybe how he can improve his game. So he's 22 games played, which seems like a lot, actually.
I think it is including some international appearances.
Okay, so it's including some international appearances as well. But when you look at the minutes, it's 1,441 minutes with 5 goals and 2 assists. And when you look at them numbers, 5 goals and 2 assists so far this season, I don't think he managed to get anything for Brazil. So I think that's all for Manchester United. Them numbers aren't too bad. I mean, remember when he scored 3 goals in 3 games? He looked really sharp at the start of the season when he first came in. The last couple of games he did a drop off ever since he did that spin, really, which everyone will highlight. But personally, for me, I'm on the side of the fence where, should he have done it where it's still a draw? No, personally, for not. I think get on with it, get the scoring going, but do I mind about a player expressing themselves and showing skills at Old Trafford, which is a theatre of dreams, which is where people should be entertained? Absolutely not. I like his attitude. I like the fact he showboats. I like the fact he's got that little bit of arrogance. But I think that's the reason why he came in and started off so well. He's got that passion. He's got that slight bit of arrogance, and I think he needs that if he's going to get through them bad veins of form as well.
Definitely. I think I don't think he played many minutes in the World Cup, did he, really?
No, just off the bench, really.
Him needing a run of games and almost to freshen himself up is definitely something that needs to happen. Brazil didn't have a great World Cup in terms of their performance, of where they actually finished. A lot of people had them down to win the tournament, so maybe that's had a little bit of an effect as well. But I think, look, he came straight in against Arsenal, didn't he, his first game? I don't know if you expected it. I didn't expect him to. But Ten Hag has shown faith in him and will continue to show faith in him. I'm sure he's been through bad spells with his time, when they had their time together previously, and he would have come out the other end fine. So, yeah, I think it's something that's, you just kind of get on with it, and you know, you never know. Tomorrow when we play Wolves, if he starts and plays, he might score a hat-trick and everything's forgotten. You never quite know.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Let's get into the goals and assists, actually. I mean, what I like about Antony is he is like a little pit bull. We've said that. He's got the energy, he's got the attitude, and do you know what? Not besides his goals and assists, he'll run through a brick wall. He gets back the most out of the wingers. That's a fact. He tracks back really well. His sprinting's good. The way he presses is great. You can tell that he's got all of these behaviours instilled in him by Erik ten Hag, which is why Erik ten Hag probably really likes him. And I think the rest will follow. Just them decision making in games at times is what I think is letting him down. Them goals that he scored, that one at the Arsenal game, I remember the one at the City game where he just took matters into his own hands, and outside the box, left foot, bang. He's got that really good left foot on him, and he will score goals at Manchester United. Playing on that right wing, cutting inside on his left foot. Obviously, he had that opportunity, didn't he, in the last game against Forest, where it was basically on a plate for him by Bruno, but he missed it, and I think that's a bit of the lack of confidence. But when it comes to scoring goals, I have no worries that Antony will be able to do that. And he's so unique in the sense he's our only left-footed forward player. And I think that's really important when you want to add a different string to your bow as a team and add something different to your team. I think he's going to be super important. And do you think Erik ten Hag will kind of stick with him and give him this run of games to play himself into form?
Yeah, 100%. You look at the only player that you could think would challenge him would be Sancho, really, who's been that main other kind of right forward. And Sancho's obviously not been available for a while now, and we don't know quite when he's going to be fit and ready to come back. So, you know, even if you put Rashford out there, you'd much rather have Rashford on that left-hand side.
That's what I was going to say. You've got Garnacho breathing down his neck to get in, but not necessarily for his position. It'd be Rashford ended up moving to the right, which then would mean Garnacho plays on the left. But because of how good Rashford's doing on the left, you don't really want to change that, do you?
Ultimately, I do think that Antony will keep his place in the team. I think, again, it comes with experience, and as you mentioned at the start, he's 22, so you can't, as soon as he has 2 bad games, 3 bad games, you can't just take him out the team and go, look, you're playing rubbish, you need to sit out for a bit. That's not, there's a bigger picture than that. You have got to put faith in players, and you have got to show that you do trust them, because, again, Erik ten Hag wanted him so badly, and that is why we did end up paying so much money for him. We didn't want to spend it at the start, but Erik ten Hag kept pushing, and that's why it went up, and we've got to deal with that, right? So,
I absolutely as well think that you're right in that sense. And the fact is, the worst thing to do now would be to drop him. I think you've got to keep playing him. I think he'll be fine. I think the confidence is there. I'd probably say one of the only negatives around his attitude, in a sense, is the needless yellow card sometimes, and the fact he probably would be prone to a sending off. You saw it in the Burnley game. He was not really getting a tune out of the fullback, and he tried to turn him, and the fullback managed to do a really good tackle on him again, and he just kicked him in the leg and got that yellow card. It's frustration with himself, but also just he's got that bite about him. But we've said it so many times, this team was in desperate need of some South American bite and some passion, and he has brought that tenfold. And I do think out of all the signings, because of his price tag, he's the one that probably needs to step up the most when you look at it from the outside. But realistically, an Eredivisie winger adapting to the Premier League is not going to happen straight away. And I think that 3 goals in 3 set quite a lot of expectation on him. And I think himself watching him in games now, from my personal kind of viewpoint when I'm watching it, he's always trying to do a little bit too much. I think he's trying to get that goal, and if he keeps it a little bit more simple, I'm sounding like Ricky now, if he keeps it a little bit more simple, like we were saying, his direct passes in field are really good, his technicality is good. If he just keeps it that bit more simple, doesn't overthink things, I think you'll see a better overall performance for him. It's like when he's the first one sprinting out and getting the ball, and he's running it up the pitch, but he's got so many options, he ends up either just not pulling off the pass at all or passing it to the wrong person. I think he's so in his own head to get it right, and that's just the pressure that Erik ten Hag will take off him in time by just allowing him to play his game.
I think the thing as well, even when he did go on that little scoring streak of those 3 games, I still don't think he was performing actually that good and as good as what he can do. But because you're obviously scoring and you're getting those numbers, it is easily overlooked. So now he's obviously not scoring, and he's putting in maybe the same performances before. People, and this is the thing with the Man United fan base, it's like, you're here 10 minutes, and people, if you don't do if you haven't scored 10 goals in 10 games, people are on your back, which shouldn't be the case. You should literally put as much faith in these guys as possible, because at the end of the day, if him sat down at home and he looks on social media and he's been at Manchester United and played, maximum 18 games or 15 games across all competitions, I don't know, and you think he's thinking, I've been here 4 months, 5 months, and they already seem to not like me. That's not a good headspace to be in. So, if anything, we need to, and this is the thing, I feel like it's gone so drastic already, even when he's had 2 poor performances, 3 poor performances, not even poor, just not to the standard that we are setting him. So Erik ten Hag is obviously quite happy with his development and the way that he's impacted the team. So why are we not?
I honestly think as well it's one of them where it's like nothing's immediately instant. It's really rare that something's immediately instant, but I definitely think he'll grow into it. But looking at some of his other statistics here, he's got a 3.6 xG, which is really, really good.
Yeah. He's outperforming his xG, right?
2.87 shots per 90. 7.18 dribbles per 90, 12.68 offensive duels, and 3 progressive runs. So his dribbling's good, his offensive duels are good, he's outdoing his XG, which is good on that standpoint because you want a player that's going to be able to kind of put goals away when they have the opportunity. And shots per 90 is nearly 3, so he's decent. He's getting in and around goal, he's getting in the right positions. And one thing I would actually like to see more from him is I'd like to see him take people on a little bit more, have that confidence. Honestly, if he loses the ball a couple of times, he loses the ball a couple of times, but we know he can do it. And I think once he gets into the rhythm of it, he'll have more confidence to go forward. But losing the ball for Man United in a must-win game, it puts a lot of pressure on these guys' shoulders. I mean, we've seen it happen with Sancho. Yeah.
Antony seems like one of those players at the minute where he'll do something right, and then the next 5 things are right because everyone's obviously like buzzing about what he's done, whether it's a piece of skill or taken 2 people on or whatever. He just doesn't need to necessarily get bogged down that when something bad happens, that it doesn't spiral, go the other way and keeps doing something wrong, or even just simple passes and that, because his work rate's there. His we know his ability. He's more than good enough to be a mainstay as that right-sided forward. It's just now kind of piecing the pieces together and executing what we all know he can do. And I know the title of this video is kind of time to step up. And I guess you can kind of...
It is in a way, because he does need to do more.
I guess it's just how you interpret it, right? He just needs to step up to what we know he's capable of, rather than he's dropped stinker after stinker game, and he needs to be shipped out. It's nothing quite as serious.
We just know his levels are here, and he's like here at the moment. He just needs to reach them. But I mean, it's a lot of pressure coming to Manchester United. You've seen it with Sancho. He's currently training away, and God, the amount of potential he had, and what he was doing at Dortmund as well. It's a different kettle of fish when you step up to United. And I'm not saying Antony's anywhere near that, because he's not at all. He's had some good games. I think he's had some poor moments, and last game was a poor performance, the Nottingham Forest game, but I think one poor performance does not define you. I definitely think he can bounce back and step up. I just want to kind of see the levels that I know he's capable of. But honestly, I'm saying it right now. I think Antony's going to be an unbelievable player for United. I think he's got loads of potential. I'm not saying he's ever going to be like Ronaldo, because that's just the height that any player would ever dream of getting to. But he does remind me a little bit of that kind of, when Ronaldo came in, he was just trying to do a little bit too much sometimes, and maybe wasn't making the correct decisions, but you could see that there was so much ability there. It reminds me of that in that sense.
Yeah, what I like now is that we have leaders in the team like Casemiro, like Varane, who can put an arm around these players and go, look, you need to do this more, you need to do this less, you need to, we have those players now. It's not like, it's almost like he has now role models within the team. Obviously, Ronaldo's gone, and he would have been, we don't know, but you'd like to say he would have been a huge role model to some players, just because he's a lot of players growing up's idol, right? So, but you haven't got Scott McTominay going over to him. He's not looking at Scott for advice. He's looking at Casemiro. He's looking at Varane. He's looking at all these huge names for advice on what he needs to do better. He needs to improve, and Casemiro will help him a lot. They play internationally together, so it'll be a massive help, and I'm sure he will definitely come good.
Yeah, I just hope nobody kind of holds on to this 80 million, because we've seen it. Obviously, we've had players that have come in for a lot of money before, and a lot of the times they haven't worked out. I mean, look at Harry Maguire. That 80 million price tag's absolutely eating him up. Pogba had it with the 90 million one, and Pogba had some good moments, but everyone was constantly reverting back to the price tag. But then you have someone that's come in with the experience of Casemiro for 70 mil at 30 years old and has absolutely proved his weight in gold. So it's like, it's just however you want to view it and how you ever want to step into it. I just think as a young lad, the pressure might come to him, but I think he's also got the arrogance where he won't let it get to him.
The good arrogance where it's not full ego, but it's like, no, you know what, I'm going to show people what I'm about. I'm going to show that I can fulfil this potential that I do have.
Yeah, and one last thing before we wrap it up. One player that could potentially cause him a little bit of trouble, Ahmad's doing brilliant on loan at Sunderland, right winger.
Yeah.
Any chance of him coming in next year and maybe disrupting it?
Personally, right now, it's hard to see. Because I'm not watching Sunderland play, it is a little bit difficult. But, I mean, he's producing unreal numbers at the minute. He's playing really well. And again, that was an investment alone, wasn't it? And you look at, he was an unknown, no one really heard of him. And we paid a 30 odd million, I think the total package was or something. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But again, it's what Manchester United want, strength and depth.
Yeah, he's killing it in the Championship, Ahmad, and I think he will come back into Manchester United in the summer. Eric Ten Hag will assess him in the pre-season tour. Romano said yesterday that United are really, really happy with him. They don't want to take any offers for him, and hopefully he can compete. We need people to compete at the end of the day. We need competition for places. And Antony as well. Another thing that he could potentially improve for me is using his right foot more. He must have something on his right foot. All footballers will. If I was Eric Ten Hag, I'd be getting to do some training sessions only using his right foot, the way Harry Kane did when he only used his left foot for quite a few training sessions. Sharpen that up. Have it as another string to your bow. Don't be that one-trick pony, which I know he isn't, but just I've seen him use his right foot a few times and he can use it. Just use it a little bit more, I would say. But look, that is the video on Antony. Is it time for Antony to step up to the level we know he can get to? Of course, but I think there's a lot to come from Antony, and I'm so excited to see his development at Manchester United under Ten Hag. And remember, no Ten Hag signings are going to be a flop. No Ten Hag signings are going to be bad signings. This guy knows what he's talking about. I trust Ten Hag, I trust Antony, and hopefully we can see more from him in the future. But thank you for watching, everybody. Get in the comments down below any more videos you would like to see. Do you think Antony is good enough for Manchester United? Of course he is, but get in your opinions down below as well, and we will see you on the next one.